This video will cover the beginning journey into the world of Vindictus, focusing primarily on the basic features of the game that all players will need to know. When venturing into Vindictus for the first time, you will be taken to a character selection screen followed by a cinematic that introduces you to the plot of Season 1. Use the video introductions provided on the character selection screen to help you decide on a character that will best suit your personal preferences. For the purpose of this video, we will begin with a new character having already been created. Depending on how well your computer can handle the game graphically, you may go to Options located at the bottom left of your interface and adjust your video settings for optimization. Play around with the user interface to really familiarize yourself with the controls and how to maneuver your character around the game. Depending on if you are using a mouse, a keyboard, or a controller, your controls can be made to differ from the default settings, as they are customizable to cater to your comfort. Use your minimap on the top right corner of your screen to navigate yourself through town. Exclamation marks at certain locations will indicate that you have a quest. Follow the exclamation points to talk to non-player characters or NPC to collect your quest. As a new player, the best way to level will be to follow your main story quests while picking up your side quests along the way. Red exclamation points mean that the quest pertains to the main story of Season 1. Green will indicate Season 2, while yellow exclamation points will mark side quests. Press M on your keyboard to navigate through your quest log to understand the quest in more detail. You can also press the little eye icon on the side of each quest to appear on your interface to keep track of your quest at all times. Your quest log is separated by tabs and categories. As a player, you should know that Vindictus is played in a story-like format, where as you progress, you are taken through the journey of the story in episodes, similar to chapters in a book. Vindictus currently contains two major story plots known as seasons. If you were to use the book analogy, seasons could be regarded as two books of a parallel timeline with individual plots, where you as a player are reading in the perspective of a mercenary in Book 1 and of a coffre chaser in Book 2. Each season or book has its own respective episodes, or chapters if you will. The two seasons are located primarily in two separate towns. Season 1 is set in Kohen, while Season 2 is in Melina. A third town known as Rochas will be introduced further down the main story as the player reaches higher levels. Players can jump back and forth quest-wise between two seasons, much like reading two books at the same time, or they could finish one entirely before the other depending on their personal preference. Leveling-wise, Season 2, if played at higher levels, will give significantly more battle experience points, which is something the player may find useful when they really get into the higher levels such as 70 to 80. The main quest for Season 2 unlocks around the time the player completes Episode 1 of Season 1. When creating a boat, you would have the option to select an Oath of Honor, level of difficulty, and the option to make the party private or public. Applying Oath of Honor and level of difficulty would affect the experience points you obtain. Each battle also gives battle points, and you can view them in the Battle Points tab under each battle, detailing how you may obtain them and what rewards you will receive when doing so. It is also important to know that dungeons in Vindictus rely on a peer-to-peer connection, meaning that the dungeon relies heavily on a good connection from the host for an optimal run with minimal lag. The host will be the person who makes the boat. If you know that your connection is unreliable, it is best to run the dungeon alone or in a party where you have a host with a relatively more reliable connection. Each character in Vindictus has three types of inventories. The most commonly used is your regular inventory marked by chest icons, taking up the majority of the inventory window. Anything not quest-specific or NX-related will go into your regular inventory. Quest-specific items with a sole purpose to move you through the story will be located in the story inventory, marked with a scroll icon near the bottom. When in dungeons, story-related drops can be identified easily from regular drops, as they are very sparkly with shiny particles around the core. Lastly, items bought with NX from the cash shop will be in your NX chest at the very bottom of your inventory. The cash shop gives the player options to buy pets, cosmetic items, and useful tools to help the player progress through the game. Use the avatar shop or die shop selected at the lower right corner of your screen to really give your character a new look. Pets in Vindictus offer unique buffs and skills to aid a player in battle. However, they will need to be fed frequently, or they will refuse to use their special skills, in what I call retaliation. As you progress, keep in mind to allocate your ability points, also known as AP. You can access your AP from your Skills tab at the bottom of your screen. These points are collected by finishing dungeons, each giving a variation of AP, with a max at 50 AP. Repetitive runs in one dungeon will decrease the amount of AP that you can obtain. However, each day a random dungeon from each map will have its AP reset, allowing the player to gain the maximum amount of AP possible for that particular dungeon. These dungeons are often called dailies, and they will be highlighted in red when viewing all the dungeons in the battle menu. There is no limit to the amount of AP that a player can collect, so collect as much as you can and run dungeons often. While running dungeons, you will sometimes find your armor breaking mid-battle. If you are a Fiona, you will even find your shield breaking after a few blocks or counters. This will decrease your defense in the run, but having a campfire or armor repair kit in your quick slot will help restore your equipment inside the dungeon. Upon leaving each dungeon, you may also find that the durability of your equipment have gradually decreased. A sign of low durability would be how dirty your character looks after several battles. You can repair everything by going to Fergus at the forge, or the Royal Army recruit at the docks. Sitting at a campfire in town will offer variation of buffs lasting up to an hour when in dungeons. When in town, try to familiarize yourself with the NPCs and where they are located. NPCs are useful in offering services of their specialty. Visit them often for crafting weapons and armors. An NPC like Fergus will offer multiple services, such as repairing, crafting, and enhancing. Enhancing at lower levels is not as useful as in higher levels, as you will be switching weapons and armors quite often in the early stages of the game. However, if you ever find a piece of armor to be too heavy, causing your movement speed to slow down in dungeons, enhancing armors can often lighten up the load, moving the weight scale under the red zone. Weight can also be affected by spending AP on specific armor types. Once a player reaches level 10, he will be allowed to use the mailbox. The mailbox is used for all forms of trade within the game between players. Player-to-player transactions mostly use the cash on delivery system, also known as COD or COD. If a player wishes to send an item to another player for the cost of gold, he will simply type the player's name and right-click or drag the item from his inventory to the mailbox slot. He can then select COD and apply the amount he wishes to gain from the delivery of the item. The COD system is one of the safest ways to trade with another player within the game. If the recipient of the COD does not pay within a timely manner, the item will be returned to the sender, so there is very little risk for both parties. If an item was sent without COD, there is no way to give the item back unless the recipient chooses to send it back by his or her own free will. It is also important to realize that mail expires after 7 days, so do not leave any mail unattended for too long. Another form of transaction is the marketplace. Here you can sell items in your inventory for the amount that you see fit. I advise to first check the item listings of the item you wish to sell to get an estimate on the pricing. Keep in mind that any unequitable items, meaning anything other than weapons, armor, and accessories, will be bound to your character once bought from the marketplace, preventing you from reselling the item other than to an NPC. Beside the exciting gameplay, the touching story, and the alluring wardrobe, Vindictus also offers the ability to socialize and make friends. Through the friend option and the capability to join guilds, players will never have to journey alone. The path of a mercenary is a tough one, but with perseverance, patience, and resourcefulness, you may find that you have all it takes to become a hero in the captivating world of Vindictus.